The Secret Sharer is a short story by Polish-British author Joseph Conrad, originally written in 1909 and first published in two parts in the August and September 1910 editions of Harper's Magazine. It was later included in the short story collection Twixt Land and Sea, 1912. The story was adapted for a segment of the 1952 film Face to Face, and also for a one-act play in 1969 by C.R. Chuck Wabb. A film, Secret Sharer, inspired by the story and directed by Peter Fudakovsky, was released in the United Kingdom in June 2014. Summary. As dusk begins to fall, the unnamed narrator of the story, the new captain of a British vessel currently anchored at the mouth of the Minam River in the Gulf of Siam, stands on the deck of his ship before joining his crew for supper. The time is approximately 8 o'clock. At supper, the captain remarks that he saw the masts of a ship anchored amongst some nearby islands. The chief mate explains that the ship to which the captain is referring is probably another English one, waiting for a favorable tide to sail home. The second mate elaborates, the ship is the Sephora, from Liverpool, and is bound home from Cardiff with a cargo of coal, which he had learned from the skipper of a tugboat who had previously come aboard to fetch the captain's letters. The captain makes a magnanimous gesture by offering to take the anchor watch himself until 1 o'clock, after which time he will get the second mate to relieve him. Again alone on deck, the captain meditatively smokes a cigar and again considers his own strangeness to the ship and its command, and his unfamiliarity with the crew. The rest of the crew sleeps soundly. The captain notices that the rope-side ladder, hung over the side of the ship to accommodate the skipper of the tugboat, has not been brought in. As he begins to pull it, he feels a jerk at the other end and curiously looks over the rail into the sea. He sees a naked man floating in the water and holding the end of the ladder. The man introduces himself as Leggett. He has been in the water since 9 o'clock, which makes the captain consider his strength and youth. Leggett climbs up the ladder and the captain rushes to his cabin to fetch him some clothes. The captain learns that Leggett was until recently the chief mate of the Sephora, having been stripped of the title after he accidentally killed a fellow crewman while trying to repair the ship's foresail during a storm. The captain tells Leggett that they should retire to his cabin so as not to be discovered by his own chief mate. The captain hides Leggett in his cabin, returns to the deck, summons the chief mate to take over the anchor watch, and then returns to his cabin. Leggett continues his story. Although the murder was unintentional, he was placed under arrest and kept in his cabin for almost 7 weeks. Approximately 6 weeks into his confinement, Leggett asked the skipper to leave his door unlocked that night, while the Sephora sailed through the Sunda Straits, so that he could jump off and swim to the Java coast, but the skipper refused. 3 weeks later, the Sephora came to its present location, and Leggett discovered that the ship's steward, wholly by accident, had left the door to his cabin unlocked. Leggett wandered onto the deck and jumped off into the sea. He swam to a nearby islet while the Sephora's crew lowered a boat to search for him. Leggett removed his clothes and sank them, determined never to return. He swam to another small island, saw the riding light of the captain's ship, and swam to it. Eventually, he reached the rope ladder, completely exhausted after swimming over a mile. The captain helps Leggett into his bed, where he falls asleep immediately. The captain eventually falls asleep himself. The next morning, the steward enters the captain's cabin to bring him his morning coffee, but does not notice Leggett because the captain has drawn the curtains that separate the bed from the rest of the cabin. The captain becomes paranoid that someone will discover Leggett and decides that he must show himself on deck. He learns that a ship's boat is coming toward the ship and orders the latter to be dropped over the side, leaving Leggett in hiding. The ship's boat is carrying the skipper of the Sephora, who boards the captain's ship looking for any sign of Leggett. The skipper is distressed over Leggett's actions and disappearance, explaining that he has been at sea for 37 years and has never seen anything like what happened with Leggett. The captain offers the explanation that perhaps the heavy sea, rather than Leggett, had caused the death of the crewman, but the skipper tells him that this could not have been the case. He then tells the captain that he will have to report Leggett as a suicide. The skipper is, however, suspicious of the captain and remarks that while the mainland is 7 miles away, the captain's ship is only 2 miles away from the Sephora. Hoping to clear the suspicion, the captain shows the skipper the rest of his cabin and stateroom, announcing his intention to do so that Leggett will know to remain absolutely still. As the skipper descends the ladder to return to his ship, he begins to ask the captain if he suspects Leggett to be secretly stowing away on board, but the captain quickly dismisses him with, "Certainly not." The captain and Leggett have another secret conversation. Leggett tells the captain that the Sephora's skipper lied when he said that he gave the order to repair the foresail. Rather, he whimpered about their last hope, while Leggett repaired the foresail without being told to do so. The captain, wholly convinced of Leggett's innocence, understands that the weather, on the night Leggett killed the crewman, crushed an unworthy mutinous existence. Steer the ship, which avoids being grounded and steers clear of any further danger. The captain now feels in perfect command of the ship and his crew. As his ship sails on, he watches his hat disappear from view and thinks of Leggett, striking out for a new destiny.